Let's continue the video which we have previously created for website creation sellanything.com. And what we need to check first, we have already made the process model of addition of the data, and let's go to the table and check the data. So currently there is only one data for this. Let's add some more data. So they are providing the options to add the data automatically, and we can fill up the details. We don't have to fill the ID. Let's fill all the other details. Name, the detail, and the price. Same for the other block. And let's press go. This is the query generated. We just need to click the go option to make it complete. So the data is inserted. We can go through the table and see there is the data. Okay, but data comes 2 times because I think the 2 blocks put the data 2 times. Okay, no issue. We have the data now. Let's go to the designer and create record type. So in this we are starting with record type. So what is record type basically is, in the record type we can check our data, we can view our data in an appropriate manner. We have 2 options. Top inner to view our data in a list view, or one other view was also there. Let's add the details, name, description. Let's create it. Security is auto-populated, as Appian provides the option to use that. So we have the security here, so we just need to check and click on the save. So this is our record type and it is created now. Let's get started. So they are asking about the data. We need to click this, and there are various ways from which we can get the data. We can get the data from database, process model, Salesforce, web APIs. Like if the data is present somewhere else on some other server, so we can fetch that from the web service. We can put the URL and all the details, but now we are using the database. So let's get next. So we have the features to sync it, to sync our data, to sync the latest data. So we can choose that, and if we do not need that, so we can also opt for disable sync, but we will choose for sync for this time. And let's move further. So these all are the things we are doing for the configuration of data. We can choose our data here. Our table name is SA add item. The data is preview is there, and filters are there, but let's add filters after this configuration, and it is showing that the data is in sync. We have opt for that, and let's move forward. Okay, so the configuration of the data is done. What we need to configure now is there are other things. Okay, so this is the data type which we have used. Okay, so these are the columns, and let's finish this. Okay, so this is the data model, and one more thing is there, relationship. Actually, the Appian introduced this relationship feature nowadays because there are many record types are there. If we are using many record types, we need to check the dependencies of some record type to other some relationship. So we can add that record type into this, and we can configure that relationship, and it makes the data fetching of data easier, a lot easier. And these are the default filters we can add if we need some. So it will filter up the data automatically when we open the record type. It gives us the filtered data if we use these default filters. And these are the data sync. We have already opt for that. We can also schedule our sync, which is off now. So this is the option of tempo. Everybody knows that the tempo is a kind of site in which task is there, report is there, records is there. If we opt for this option, then the record which we have created we can go to the records and we can find our record there. Okay, but currently we don't need that, so let's uncheck this and move forward. And this is the news feed. Okay, so there is one news feed which we have created previously. Let's not worry about this, and let's move forward. So this is the tempo option, and let's go to the list. Actually, this is a main option. So this is asking us, okay, we have not save the record type. So let's save our record type, and after saving, data sync will happen. Okay, so the data sync is started. If you see this circle, okay, the sync is completed, and we can edit the list now. So this is the list which we can see when we go to our record. Currently the columns are there, ID, name, and everything is coming, and the name is link. So let's do something interesting, and let's make ID as a link. Okay, so here the data label is there only, and let's change it. Let's use a bank link field. Let's use a bank dynamic link here. We have to use RecordLink, but let's do some experiment. Okay, so this a bank link field is the field in which we can use the links. Here we are experimenting with a bank dynamic links. I think the name is having RecordLink, the name column, and in ID we are using dynamic link. Let's write it down. So we are only giving the label here because in dynamic link we don't have to give the value of this. We can give, but here it is not needed. Let's complete this. The error is, I think, due to comma. Let's click OK, and you can see the ID is linked now. Okay, but these are the dynamic links. Let's go to the name and check what type of link they are using. Definitely the the record link. Okay, so the record link is here, and we don't want to use the link. We just need to put the label. We only want label for the names. So let's remove this, the link configuration. What we can do, we can cut the label and paste it here. Let's click OK. So the link will be gone. Okay, it is long gone. And let's use record link here because we wanted to click on that and we wanted to open that record in the same view. So let's use identifier and label and record type. So the link is gone for the name and we have created for ID. We can save this and let's go to the record first. So this is our record. You can see the list view. It contains all the columns. So why the summary is blank? These are the views which we have to configure because there is no interface configured in this. So this is blank. So this is the user filters. If we wanted to add some user filter, we can add here, but we don't need any user filter. So like this search box, we have the options to remove these kind of things, search box, download to Excel, and this and refresh. We have the options to remove this from the record type. Whatever we want, we can remove and check. So we have removed the search box. Let's check if it is working or not. I think we need to refresh the whole page. So if you see this, it is gone. And let's go to the record back. Let's go to views because we wanted to check that summary, why it is not coming. So this is the place in which we can manage our views, the configuration of views. So if we wanted to configure this, like this is coming blank, these are all other views which are blank and related action is also there. If we wanted to configure these, we have to click on this. Let's say for summary, we have to edit this because summary is by default added, and this is the place in which we have to add the interface. But we have not created any separate interface. So let's use the interface which we have already created. That interface is in editable form, but let's use that only because we have to use some interface to show our data. Okay, so you can put rule and the name of the interface and the parameters are there. One parameter is, we need one parameter to be passed in this, which is add item, because we have to pass some identifier in this. If we pass the identifier of that, then it will come. So let's create a rule expression to use in that case. Name some, we can name it whatever we want. Let's save it, create it. So what we need to do in this rule expression is, actually it is a little bit interesting thing. What we need to do, we will pass identifier, and from the database we will fetch the data of that identifier, and we will show that data into the interface. So this is the constant of our entity, and let's use this, and these are the options for filter. Let's generate it. Okay, so if we test this rule, it will give us all the data, whatever whatever we need. But this is not we want. We want only one data. Whichever we pass the identifier, we will need that data only. So let's create a rule input in which we can pass the identifier for that. Okay, so we need to add the filter. Let's add that filter first. According to the rule input, we can add it here. We can add item, we can select the variable, select the column, and equals to that rule input. We can edit this as an expression. It is not coming. This is our rule input. Let's add this, and it is done. Okay, so we just need to generate now, and the filter is added in this Appian query filter. Let's, okay, so it is added, but I think we are using the CDT. Let's try this. We have to use only a single field, because we are giving the identifier. It will show error. Definitely it will show error. Let's use this, showing the error. Let's change the rule input. It will show error because we are using the CDT now. We don't have to use the CDT. We just need to pass the identifier. So let's use some rule input which will take our identifier, which is ID. So let's create ID only, and whatever ID we will pass, it will give us the data from the database. So this is the magic. We have created a amazing rule which will give us only the data, whichever ID we are passing. Let's use dot data, because it is giving us whole dictionary. We don't need that. We only need the data. So it will give us the data, and we have also created the rule input. Let's save this. Let's check forms. Let's check for some other cases also. I think it's working fine. Let's check for some other ID. Okay, amazing. It is giving us the right data. Great, great, great. It is giving us the right data. Let's use this rule into that interface. So we will pass the RB Bank record ID here, and if you pass that, it will fetch us the data and it will come into that interface. So this is the trick to use in this record type. Let's add that. So this is the feed we need, and let's save this. Okay, we have used this. Fine, we have passed the perimeter, and this is the summary view. Let's press OK. Okay, so let's save it. So we have configured the summary, and the summary will come into that. The data of the link which we have clicked, and this is a name. Let's go to our record and check if it is working or not. Let's click on summary. It is showing error. Okay, I get the error. Actually, there are two parameters, but we have passed one without giving the name. So it is giving us the error because it will be confusing for rule to know what we are passing because there are two parameters. So we need to make it whatever we are using, add item. Now it will be working fine. Great. Okay, let's press OK and let's check again. The data will come definitely. Okay, amazing. The data is coming now in the interface. So this is the interface which we have created for add item, but the data is coming in editable format. And let's open from the new. Let's check for some other links also. Okay, the data is coming, amazing. And this is the editable format. If we wanted to use a read only, then we need to use the same interface and do some modifications, or we can also create a different interface and use here. Okay, so it is fine, it is working fine. So our main motive is complete. We have created a record and we have completed the details of the record. The link is associated with these details, and these are the views. Okay, so this is working fine. One more thing is there in the records related action. We have not used this, but let me tell you what is this and why we are using this. Actually, if we wanted to do some modifications, let's say we wanted to modify some details of the record. So we can use a related action and we can attach the process model in the related action. So the process model will run and take us to the different process where we can edit and write that thing into the database. So these are the cases in which we use related actions. There are different kind of things we can use in any way. Okay, so this is a related action. Let me go to the record and show how we can generate record. Okay, so this is the automatic and fast way to create, but mostly we use manual because manually we can create whatever we want. We can use this, and here it is asking for process model. So if we have some process model, we can give the name and that will come under the related action. Currently we don't have. We will do some experiment in the next video. Let's cancel this. Okay, so today we have completed this. We have created a record. We have created the rule expression by which we can fetch by using the identifier, and that is great. Let's cover the other parts in the next video. Okay, so record is complete, and let's do something interesting in the next video also. Okay guys, bye bye. Thank you so much.